Hello, this is Alexa, and you are listening to the Wishbeads podcast. Thanks so much for tuning in. I created this podcast to give you another tool, another window into the world of Wishbeads. Why? To inspire you that it is completely possible to ask for what you want and then empower yourself to take action to make it happen. And more, I am looking to interview people, one who I admire and love, but also to hear their true stories about their wishes coming true. So today's guest, Inbal Gonen, is an amazing woman, so gracious, such a good friend. Actually, she's become a friend through our many Wishbeads experiences. But on today's podcast, she's actually going to share her own story about how she had what I would call one of those when Harry met Sally moments. Do you know that scene from that film? And Meg Ryan famously says, "I'll have no, excuse me." Someone at the dining cafe says, "I'll have what she's having." Anyway, if you don't know what I'm talking about, it's this idea of seeing somebody else and saying, "I want that." And not coming from a place of jealousy, but rather coming from an experience of yearning, but excitement. And that's what your wish ideally feels like. It's something that both excites you and intimidates you all at the same time. I love that. I love that tension. So here at Wishbeads, I'm creating tools to really awaken you to how powerful you are to make your wishes come true. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, then definitely check out the Wishbeads podcast. Certainly join me on a monthly wish circle where I guide you alongside, we'll have a special guest for each experience, but I guide you through a visualization where you're picturing your wish as if it's already come true. And then you have an experience to work with me live to get some feedback, how you can take action right now towards those very specific desires. It's really fun. Anyway, and of course, there's the jewelry to keep you reminded. So, all of those good things. So, today's conversation, I hope it inspires you to think about what is something that I have secretly longed for? And there's a part of me that knows it's my time to make it happen because life is short and life is precious. So we got to make the most of it while we're here. So without further ado, it is my sincere pleasure to have you meet Inbal. Oh, Inbal, this makes me so happy to actually do this podcast recording with you because in a way, we get to capture the essence of a little journey of how we've known each other from like a little while back now through Wishbeads, but specifically because here you are about to launch your big wish. And so welcome to the podcast. I'm so happy to tell your wish story.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm super happy to be here. This is surreal. I'm exciting. It's very exciting.
I love that. So that energy, that's exactly what I want to talk about because it's funny because before we started this podcast, I was about to, I did ask you, and then I said, no, let's save it for the podcast. I can't remember how you found out about Wishbeads, but I get this essence that from the minute you found out about it, you were like, yes, I want to do that. Yes, I want to host that. Yes, I want more of that, please.
Yes.
So like jog my memory. What was the first time that you heard about Wishbeads?
So when I was a mom at school and some of, friends, acquaintances showed up at school with the original bracelet, the one with
the paper bead version.
And I had just started meditating, kind of got into it a little bit more and was sharing with my friends, and they showed up with these bracelets and I said, oh, those are super cool. What are they? And they told me about it. And I said, okay, like, when are we doing this? Tell me next time you guys do this wish circle, this Alexa lady, like this is amazing. And that's what happened. I got invited to a wish circle at somebody's house. And it was the time that your car got broken into.
Oh my God. That was insane.
Right? So you show up at this person's house and you're telling us why you're late, that your car got broken into. You did not know where you're going. You only knew the name of the street and the person whose house you're going to. And you're telling us the story of how like the neighbors came out and somehow you got a directory and you showed up at this place. And I thought, okay, that's crazy and amazing, because we live in Los Angeles. It's not like we're in like a little town with Main Street and Old Street and like you're limited. And then I remember you speaking about really the idea of working with people. I believe it was in shelters with mothers.
Yeah.
And how you were helping them really just find the light and love and positivity in things. And I thought, you know, there's always a positive spin on things. Doesn't mean that things aren't bad. It doesn't mean that you don't have to acknowledge the situation, but it really does fall down to perspective. And I really love that. And I thought I would love to get to know you and host. And I just thought it was super great. And I did my very first Wish bracelet, which was such a wonderful experience. And obviously the song, I mean, I Am Light was like crying hysterically as I'm doing this. And then an opportunity came up, obviously, for me to host a circle. And you came to my home and we hosted that circle with all the 12, 15 ladies. And it was intense and amazing and really so well received, which again was just another step of validation that this is something that I need to be involved in. And that's kind of how our friendship kind of hit it off. And then and I've been wishing ever since. I mean,
yes, you have. You are truly a wish warrior. Well, there's a couple of things that you touched on that I just want to highlight a little bit, because I think there's a lot of myths about wishing. And one of those myths is like that a wish should be easy. It should feel magical. And it is all of that. But life is going to present obstacles and challenges. And we have to figure out a way through them, even when it seems impossible. And one of the things that happened that morning was I was on my way, and, you know, we've changed our habits in this modern world. And I no longer have like a landline, for example, because nobody ever answered it. So we don't have one. And everything was in my phone, including, everything was in my phone. Where I was going, sort of everything was there, including my ability to call somebody. And my husband wasn't home, so the other cell phone wasn't there. My kids at the time, no cell phones. So what was so wild was I was on my way and I got into my car, and which was just parked right in front of my house. And I had forgotten the gift that I was going to give the hostess. And I thought, oh yeah, the hostess gift. And literally all I had to do was run into my house, grab it, and run back out. And in that span of time, I never do this, but I left my purse on the front seat of my car, just as it was literally like 45 seconds. And I saw that there was a guy on a bike, and I'm assuming that that was him who saw me run to the house. You know, you could kind of read the story of like, oh, there's a woman who forgot something. She's running into her house, smashed the window, stole my purse. So wallet, cell phone, everything, and a smashed window. But I'm like, there is a woman in the Palisades who has summoned like 30 people to her home, of which I am leading this experience. I have to go, and I have to figure out how I'm going to get there. I mean, like, how am I going to figure out where to go? And your mind, because you've got that panic, is not thinking clearly. So I like run into my computer, and I'm looking at my computer to be like, how can I turn my computer into a phone? Like, who do I contact? And I'm like frantically searching for emails, but it was all done under text message. Anyway, wasn't thinking clearly. So I was like, Alexa, you just got to go. So I am now driving on PCH, Pacific Coast Highway, going up to this home that I sort of know where we're going, because I had looked the night before to get a sense of how much time I needed to get there. I'm a very prepared person. Meanwhile, I have like broken glass, like coming into the car because there is a smashed window.
It's just crazy.
I mean, it's just ridiculous. Then I get to where I sort of think, and like, I barely remember, I don't even remember the last name of the woman whose house I'm going to. And I start just like, I park and I'm just like, universe, please hook me up. I know I'm going to sound like a crazy lady asking some person if they know this woman's first name. And like, And sure enough, there was a woman walking a dog. And I was like, I know this sounds crazy. I'm trying to be calm because I'm late. Anyway, so the key is that like paths open up, especially in those moments when we feel stuck. So we're going to get back to that when we zoom forward.
All the time.
Yeah. The other thing that I would love to highlight is that you let your curiosity, like that spark of that moment that says like, "Oh, I want that." Like, let that be the fuel to you taking the next step, which is, when's the next one? I want to go, and making time. I want to go. I want to be there. And not only that, finishing that first experience and say, now I want to host.
Yeah.
It's like you trusted your instinct. So, but I want you to share also about my story about the download.
God. Okay. So, it's super interesting. I feel like I'm a split personality. On one hand, I am incredibly feet on the ground, very practical. I was a pre-med student in college. I'm a very science, research-based person. On the other hand, I have no doubt in my mind that energy exists and that there is guidance by the universe and that things happen for a reason. So it's like a woman who's like schizophrenic. I mean, really, and I deviate from one side to the next, and I'm still figuring out the balance, to be honest. But when you shared your story of how Wishbeads came to be, and the idea that you really just had this idea that like, I had this image of you with like this energy, just like, and all the details coming into your head, your download. I thought, I mean, what could be more clear than that? If you can literally take this esoterical idea and somehow in your brain translate it into the most practical, doable, hands-on experience, I want that. I mean, that's like my two crazy worlds coming together. And how do I get that? And when you shared that story, I left that first Wishbeads circle thinking that would be amazing, because my background, as I'd mentioned, I was pre-med, but really my kind of career spans a variety of things. I was pre-med. I worked in a doctor's office. Then I did special events. I worked, the Grammys and all those good things. And then I fell into education, which really is one of my major passions. And I ended up getting my master's in early childhood education. And I taught in the classroom. I did parent education. I did staff development. And then I moved forward. I have 3 kids. And I had my 3 kids, which became my priority. And so I was out of that life of what am I going to do with myself beyond being a mom, which was always really important to me, for 10 years, more than 10 years. My oldest is 15. And it was a constant, I am more than this. I am more than just a mom, and I don't know what it is that I want to do. And I knew that I didn't want to go back into education. My passion had shifted. And so I was very much looking for some kind of guidance. And so it came to be. In the end of a very tumultuous yoga session in my house, I had shared with you. I mean, I was doing yoga twice a week with somebody in my home in a closed room without any interruptions. And that day, my daughter, who was sick that day, came in the middle of the session and started asking a lot of questions. And I said, why don't you just sit here quietly and listen and just let me finish this. It's just an hour. You can be on your phone, whatever it is. And she did that. And then my husband walks in when I'm like in downward dog and my butt is to him and his person that he came in with. It was just an awful, awful hour. And my yoga instructor, who happens to also be a Reiki practitioner, said to me, just relax. It's fine. At the end, we're just going to do an assisted stretch for 10 minutes. And we'll just breathe through it. And then you'll have 10 minutes of just real focus. And I said, fine. And as the universe would have it, her music stops playing, which it never does, right as we're about to do this. And I said, you know what, leave it off. I'm just going to really concentrate on breathing, and I don't have to do anything else because she's stretching me out and I'm just laying there. And as she starts stretching, I have a download. And as it's happening, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm having a download. And I'm just going to I'm going to breathe through this experience, and I'm going to just listen to everything that's coming into my mind. And I sat up when I was done. My yoga instructor looked at me and asked me what in the world just happened. She said, your legs were vibrating. There's something happening. What's going on? And I said, I know what I need to do. I figured it out. And she said, do you want to share with me? And I said, yes. Yeah, I know what I need to do. I need to create a space which allows people who are energy healers, who love helping people and love working with our community, have a space to do what they do best, and something that we can share, something that would be easily accessible, something that will feel inviting, so that people can tap into this amazing energy that's out there that we're either scared of, or we're overwhelmed by, or we're super skeptical of. And that's what I need to do. And that's what I did. And she left, and I was talking to my husband, and I couldn't find anything similar to what I had in mind. And we started looking at properties, and then the pandemic hit. And I thought, okay, I cannot open a brick and mortar where people are going to put their hands in my face. Nobody's doing that. And my discouragement was very short-lived, because I decided to then get Reiki certified to kind of learn a little bit more about it. I'd heard about virtual healing. And I did that online, and that changed the course of everything. And so we shifted Calmness in a totally different direction and started to create what we are today. And that is a virtual personal growth studio. So it's a studio that's online where practitioners can come and give their gifts, or, provide their services and really focus on their healing abilities. And we take care of the rest. And we take care of the rest by making the idea of energy healing and energy medicine accessible, and not, over woo-woo-y, which is, very LA, and you could very easily get sucked into that. And really our goal is to bring together people who are going to just do great things for our world. So that's us.
And where can people find this new wonderful location?
So the site is just calmnest.com, CALMNEST. And our handle is Calmnest Studio on Instagram.
Yep.
Facebook, which is super exciting.
Oh, Inbal, there's so many things that I'm just so proud of you. I really am so proud of you. Yeah. And there's just some things I would love to highlight from your journey. And the first of which is, I do want to say you had like a When Harry Met Sally moment, where in the diner after Meg Ryan, fakes an orgasm, and the woman says, I'll have what she's having. Now, I certainly wasn't faking my story about the quote unquote download, that experience in the shower where the idea for Wishbeads came to me fully formed. Yeah. But I, like you, I really mean this. There is one side of me that is wildly practical, very grounded. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a teacher. I understand what it takes and all the mechanisms. I'm also a dreamer. And I'm also someone who believes in the power of the things that we can't see, touch, and feel, but that great unknown, and dancing with those two energies to bring ideas into reality. So you likely also felt a kindred spirit just with who I am. I always say I have one foot on the ground, one foot in the sky. Like that's me. And hopefully the idea of bringing a bridge to make those teachings and products, very accessible. But what I also love is that you were very clear in not just saying, well, I wish I could, quote, figure out my career or my next career move, or I really want like something general. What you wanted was the download. It was so specific. I want what she's having. I want the experience of that woman, Alexa, who was just going about her life primarily as a teacher. And suddenly, and I remember even thinking in the moment of that download that the name Wishbeads, I saw the name Wishbeads, and I thought, the other part of my brain said, that is like the most obvious name in the world. Of course, that's not going to be free, as a web address or a trademark. Right. And then when it was free, I knew that was a sign. That was the yes. That was the confirmation I needed, that of like, oh, well, then if this idea came through me, that means that there is always an invisible supportive energy that I've tapped into all the time when I felt overwhelmed or not sure what to do next. It came through me, which means it's not me in a way, but I am the ambassador. I'm the captain of this ship. The ship is not mine, but I'm the captain steering it in the right direction.
So it's true. I don't know if you ever read Big Magic.
Oh, yeah. So Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic. Yes.
Right. So when I read that, and there's a portion in the book where she speaks about poets and writers and how they're able to like write the entire thing backwards, or it just shows up and you have to capture it. And that always stuck with me because I thought, I've many times in my life had an idea. My husband is an entrepreneur, so we're constantly having conversations about new things and things happening where I'll throw out an idea, but it won't really catch me. I'll throw it and I'll say, oh, that would be a really cool product, or that would be a really cool service. And without fail, 6 months to a year later, I'm in a store or something and I'm taking a picture of the product and I send it to him and I said, see? It was out there. Like, we just didn't catch it. This wasn't ours to have. It wasn't ours to have. And so when the download happened, when you shared your story, I thought, this really calls to me. This is an idea that really brings my two worlds, my two personalities together, where I can be a teacher, where I can do the things that have always come so supernaturally to me and teach people about something really that has been around for thousands of years. And honestly, penicillin, which is the most brilliant thing ever, shifted our entire brain in terms of how we look at healing each other and helping each other. It went from something that nobody really could explain, but just traditions have passed on from generation to generation, to something very, very practical of, I can fix this with this little pill. And so medicine shifted so drastically and unfortunately forgot. It's as if it was like, oh, well, now that stuff doesn't really exist, so let's just put it aside. It was really just,
now science is king. Now
science is king. And I do feel that we're now really at a point where science and energy work are coming together.
I agree.
You see it in hospitals. You see it. Reiki is so widely used. UCLA, Harvard, all over the major hospitals as support for people to take less pain medicine, to reduce anxiety. So why not create a place really that educates people about that? It's just a supplement to something that we already know. And it's something you can easily access.
Definitely. And I think, the other thing that your story highlighted for me was we have a lot of concepts. And one of the concepts is that sometimes you think like, I have to have the perfect conditions. I mean, actually the circumstance of your download perfectly highlights that you actually needed you wanted a calm nest for yourself. And you found that you had all of this cacophony of noise and interruptions and life pulling you in a million different ways, which is why you're building the thing maybe that you wanted to have. But I also think on another level, it's a reminder that sometimes it's because of our chaos. It's within the chaos, the noise, the distraction, the bombardment of things around us, that we have to dig deep and find the quiet within. And so that life and magic is happening in life, in the dynamic. You don't have to like get rid of everything and run off to, an ashram in India or like, ditch your entire family. It's like, if you are desiring that thing, sometimes you can get there by calling it in amidst the chaos of life. And my meditation teacher always says, listen, don't be bothered by, some external noise that's happening while you meditate. It's just the music of life. And so I found even the phrase like the music of life.
Love it.
makes me not react if my phone starts going off or there's like suddenly noise that I can hear from the neighbor or whatever. It's not disturbing my meditation. Meditation is actually deeper than that.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
And it's fascinating. You often speak about signs.
Yeah.
And just really, you when you are aware of them, you become more aware of them and very observant. I'll share a funny story from this weekend. Ron and I, my husband Ron and I, went on a drive, and I, for some reason, had this like total bout of anxiety in the car. My heart started racing, and I couldn't really explain it. And so I just closed my eyes. I took a few deep breaths, and I said, I just need a sign to tell me that this is going to pass and everything will be okay. I said it in my head. We're listening to music. There was nothing, no grandiose gesture or anything like that. I opened my eyes. We're on the freeway in the middle of nowhere. And Ron says to me, oh my gosh, look at that car. You used to drive that car. That's the car you drove when we met 20 plus years ago. And I said, oh my God, yes, it is. As we keep driving, the car in front of that car, which was a Camaro, like a T-top Camaro, was the car Ron drove from 20 years ago when we met.
Wow.
I can't make it up. I can't make it up. And
Wow.
he is a down to earth. He's like my biggest skeptic. He believes that things happen and all of that, but like, as long as it works for you, then that's great.
Right.
I said, you see that? He goes, yeah, I see it. I see it. Okay. And I thought, okay, I'm good. I'm where I need to be. I'm with my husband. All is good in life. Let's continue. And the anxiety subsided. And that was my sign for the day. And that was it.
Wow. I so love that. And again, Inbal, I'm just going to say this to you and anyone listening or watching. Ask for what you want. Ask for what your heart desires. Ask if you need a little sign. Ask if you need an answer to come to you. Ask if you need to give yourself permission to get really deeply quiet and feel the sweet connection of that. And I love the idea too, that you can even reflect deeper on that sign and see like, well, what does that show you? What does that teach you? What does that invite for you to trust more deeply or to see like, you and Ron are on this ride together, and then how your rides have changed over the years,
Totally. And I think that in our society today, it's very easy to get caught up, especially ironically, I think during this pandemic. I have to be productive. Just because there's a pandemic doesn't mean I should just stop. I still need to, now I can work from home. So I can work until all hours of the night. I can work from the second I open my eyes in the morning, just pick up my cell phone, deal with all my emails. I put my kids down. I can get on my laptop, to just pause. It's okay to pause. It's okay in a day that is maddening to take half an hour and have lunch outside in this amazing weather that we're having so fortunately compared to the rest of the country right now. It is okay to watch your TV show at 4:00 in the afternoon for half an hour and take a break. It's okay. And it's not only okay, I genuinely believe if you don't do that, you'll miss the signs. You'll miss it. You'll miss the introspection. And that is where really the energy flows. And that goes back to, again, the education that I'm super passionate about through Calmness it doesn't have to be, like you said, you don't have to leave your family and your friends and go move somewhere and sit in silence for days or months upon end. The opposite. We're here.
Yeah.
We're living our lives. We now get to make a choice. We get to make a choice of how to live it. And at the end of the day, the results may be the same.
Or the results may be better than what you initially imagined. And in your case, your download, like you will have a brick and mortar. I know it, I can see it for you. And it was part of that original download in the same way that my company started with a paper bead making kit. And it evolved into, a much larger line of jewelry and more. And And yet, what I also want to celebrate in your own journey is the fact that you said yes to your download and you brought energy, attention, and action from this vision and allowed not only for it to take action in terms of like all the little tiny things like getting the name, designing a logo, looking into properties, then having to pivot and reinvent. And that kind of persistence combined with flexibility is what it takes to make your wishes come true. It's not a rigidity. It's almost like it's a fluid, almost like training for a marathon, where you just train and take action and find support and accountability and keep going. And we've talked on the days where you're like, because I just had a conversation with a developer, and once you're in it, can you tell us what are like one or two things that you have learned about this journey of the last year of bringing your wish to fruition?
Sure.
A little bit of insight. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty more, but just what are like one or two things that come to mind?
Look, like you said, we spoke a couple weeks ago. I thought we were ready to go. We had tested. We were like gung-ho. I had spoken to all my amazing practitioners. I said, guys, next week, that's it. We're ready. Let's do this. And I get a call from my developer saying, we have a pretty significant problem. And I'm working on it, but I don't have an answer for you right now. And I thought I was going to lose my mind. I was agitated. I was angry. I was all the feelings we feel when something we anticipate does not go our way, and something not only anticipate, I mean, it's been, months and months and months, and you like see the light, and then somebody says, no, that's not actually your light. That's somebody else's light. So if you could just go back and sit back there for a minute, we'll call you when it's time for your light. And I was in it. And honestly, it took me a solid day or a day and a half to take a step back, to pause, to say, okay, Inbal, things happen for a reason. You have a million stories in your own life where something goes absolutely stupid crazy, and it's not what you wanted, and it's the opposite of what you wanted, and it works out the way that it should. So take a pause.
Yeah.
Feel your feelings. Don't sit and pout in them. Recognize, yes, you're right. This sucks. This is not the way I wanted it to be. And wake up the next morning and surrender. And that's what it comes down to for me. Mm-hmm. One of my big kind of reaffirmations is that when I surrender to the process, that does not mean by any means that I wake up in the morning and I was like, I hope this website builds itself. I'm going to pay somebody to develop it. And in 3 months, it's going to be amazing. No, there is daily work. There's constant, refining and working and telling my kids to not get in my way right now. I have to focus. There's all of that. But in the moments that feel like you're stuck, like you're hitting a brick wall, to stop and recognize that that wall is there, and that we just have to say, okay, I'm going to hang here for a minute. You, whatever you are, do what you need to do. And I'm ready when you're ready.
Yeah.
And really the moment I do that, first of all, I'm significantly calmer. My energy shifts, which means my family's energy shifts, and I'm having a much lovelier day. And the experience that is frustrating me gets less energized in the sense that it just starts to work itself out.
Yeah.
Not fighting me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Like fighting against something. So that's something that's just a reaffirmation, really, for me.
Yeah.
Another.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, I was just thinking about, these, especially for entrepreneurs, they're labors of love. And I kind of think about that contradiction, because laboring sounds like work, effort, and love is this thing that's sort of playful and exciting. And I think that's also why I believe that your wishes do require work. So it's the same idea. Wishing is fun, it's exciting, it's creative. And then work is just effort and action. And that's why I think for both of our personalities, it's really this two aspects of ourself, this yin and the yang and the idea that we can balance how we can bring more love into our labor and how we can bring a little bit of labor into the things that we love and we care about and we believe deserve our energy and attention. And that it is this dance. Each of us need to cultivate a calm nest within so that we can come back to ourselves, to fill our cups up, to stay grounded, to stay present, all of the things that just make life easier and make us feel more cared for, more safe as we move through the world, and we can have more energy to put to the things that we love and to our wishes that we want to have come true. So I think embracing that, you talked about earlier, I don't remember how you phrased it, about these two sides of yourself as if they're in contradiction. I think they're complementary, and that the key is finding that path in the middle where you can kind of draw from these two aspects of yourself and then stay in the center. And I'm saying this to you because I'm saying it to myself. That
and that's, it's a hard thing to do, again, in the society that we live in. I have 2 boys and a girl, and my husband and 2 dogs. My life by no means is easy and quick. I used to meditate in the carpool line because that was the time that I had to do it. Mm-hmm. I need to feel confident in the things that I need for myself so that I can express it to my family, so that they understand that I am a better person when I do the things that I need to do to fill my cup. And sometimes those things don't make any sense to them. Mm-hmm. My one of my boys is very black and white, very like techie. Either it is or it isn't. So whatever this meditation thing that you're doing, it makes absolutely no sense. And honestly, if it's in my lunchtime, it's kind of annoying, but he's learned over the years, this is what you need. And so I'm going to let you do you. But I also had to find a place of confidence to say, this is what I need. Mm-hmm. You may not like it. You may not understand it. And I'm okay with that. And I think that often as moms and sometimes as women, we kind of put that aside. Mm-hmm. And I consider myself a super independent, strong woman. And I, for a time, I was like, this is the scientific side of me. It's like, no, this is a little bit out there, Inbal. Like, really, is this really? And then I had some experiences where there was no denying that this is what I needed for myself. And so I've grown to the point where I am better at putting those things together. It's not always ideal, but it is, mm-hmm. It's something that I'm growing into, and that I'm sure that I will continue to grow.
And you created a business around it. I mean, what's so beautiful? Like, you're like, oh, well, I actually need a calm nest.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to build that for other people and talk about and teach other people, going back to education, how these tools can help people in life. So I want to actually talk about, as we're kind of wrapping up, a little bit more. So someone who's new to Calm Nest, what are the types of things specifically that you're offering people in right now, the online version of Calm Nest Studio?
So right now we have 8 modalities that are on the site. The modalities range from things that feel a little bit more familiar, like intuitive coaching, where you're going to be working with somebody one-on-one and they'll really kind of help guide you through experiences, to things that may feel a little bit stranger or more unfamiliar, like biofield tuning, where somebody is working on the energy field that actually lives around your body, ironically 6 feet around your body, which I thought was so interesting with today's pandemic.
That is interesting.
It deals with the frequencies of your history. I think there's a premise that needs to be understood by people in general before we even talk about what it is that we provide. We have energy in us, right? An EKG, an EEG, all those things are electricity. It's energy. There are frequencies that run through our body. That's a very scientific way to look at it. And the way that I like to describe the work that we do is really like that electricity it's Wi-Fi. And so because people say, well, how could they do that from far away? I said, you're not attached to the cord, and your computer works at Starbucks, and your computer works, in your car, tethering off of your phone, and the energy works in the same way. So biofield tuning, we have Reiki, which is a wonderful way to release energy that is often stuck in our body and will give us a feeling of pain or discomfort that we can't really explain. It's often said that energy is stuck in a particular part of the body, and so Reiki helps release that. We offer breath work, which is a session where you breathe in a very particular way to help release energy and transfer energy throughout your body. EFT, which is tapping, which works off of the meridians of the body. Somatic movement, which is wonderful. The idea of moving your body in a particular way to release particular parts of your body that are holding stress and anxiety that you may not really be aware of. So all of these modalities, these are the types of things that we offer. And I'm hopeful that these modalities will grow as practitioners work with us and really share what it is that they're passionate about. We really do want to focus on these energy healing modalities rather than, I've been approached, why don't you offer yoga? And why don't you offer meditation per se? And at the moment, that's not where we're gearing. We really do want to focus on something that's a little different, a little unfamiliar, and make it incredibly approachable and incredibly accessible, and a place where people can feel comfortable and vulnerable to try something new.
Yeah.
And so that's our main.
I love it. And so people can book with practitioners one-on-one. And I believe you're also going to be offering workshops. So maybe people are new to some of those modalities, or they want to have an introduction to that. Is that something that people can find on your site as well?
Absolutely. So practitioners are going to be offering a variety of workshops. We're actually thinking about doing something kind of like a modality open house, where maybe we have a few workshops that highlight a couple modalities.
Oh, neat.
Allow you to kind of test things out, dip your toe in and not feel committed or having to be, incredibly exposed. I'm super much looking, as my daughter would say, super much looking forward to having, the Wishbead experience on our site. I think that, presenting intentions and creating opportunities for intentions to be set and written down and acknowledged is incredibly powerful, as evident.
Yes, you've got your beautiful new bracelet on.
I do.
Yeah.
So we're at the beginning of a very, very exciting journey. Our long-term goal is much grander, and I see it. I close my eyes and I see it.
I love that.
I've spoken. It's, again, right? I saw it in my head, and then I said, well, that's really nice, Inbal. Now practical, you needs to go do a little research and find out if your idea is any good. And I've done enough research that I wake up every day knowing that what I'm doing is the right thing for me to do. And it may not be right for everyone, and it may not be ideal for everyone, both practitioners and clients. But I know that this is where I need to be, and I know that this is what I need to give to the world. So I'm excited for our launch. I'm excited to share everything that we do. I'm excited to hear back from people and see how we can help everybody kind of live the best version of themselves.
Yeah. I love it. I mean, and I'm going to say this, it is such an honor to watch you not just embark on this, but to see the journey that you've taken. And I'm so proud of you, because I actually do know what it takes to have an idea and the work that it takes to take that idea and bring it into the material world. And I have no doubt that by seeing your energy and feeling it and the beautiful things that you've already created, because I've had a sneak peek behind the scenes of the website, it's going to be a huge success. And I'm so proud of you. And I'm honored to be on this journey with you, even a small part. It's so exciting. And so we'll put all the links to your site and where people can follow you. And of course, we'll continue to promote you as new workshops come up, and follow your journey and enjoy the services and the teaching that you're putting out into the world. It's just awesome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This is really just so exciting for me. And it really is kind of a funny full circle. I think back, I mean, it's probably 5 years.
It really is. And then, you talk about time, being excited about like this launch and, and you wanted to do it on this date. And it's funny, we do get caught up in time. And yet, like, even if it's taken a year, which by the way, between you and me, I think is quite fast, but just think of what's going to happen. Like time is going to keep marching forward anyway. And how beautiful that, this beautiful seed that you planted a year ago, that came to you, this little magical seed, you've cultivated, you've cared for it, and you're watching that first sprout come up in terms of your website launch. And just, it's beautiful to see with time how this is going to grow and the harvest that it's going to reap and the people that are going to be enjoying the fruits of your labor. So yeah, we'll be on this journey with you, cheering you on.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And just thank you. I mean, really, I know you think you played a tiny little nothing part, but you planted an idea that somebody who wasn't lost per se, but really needed a bit of direction was given the permission to ask for it. And so that is not a small feat, and it is greatly appreciated. And it's one of the notches in the journey. It's part of the journey for sure.
Yeah.
And is not forgotten or unappreciated. So,
well, I'm thrilled. I really am thrilled, and I actually know it's just the beginning for you and I, and all the things that we're putting out into the world together, individually, and just as I was going to say like sisters on the path, or little wish warriors. Because it's true. You do have to find the people in your life that are allies, and the people that are going to help you, and the people that are going to give you their guidance and insight and encouragement and feedback and all the things. And so I think too, and just a commentary on sometimes the way that we think society is, that there's competition, or there's people judging you. I actually found in my own experience, because I'm so intentional about this, is that I am calling in people who can be that way for me. And I am so honored to be that for somebody else. Because with Wishbeads, I will tell you, I have asked and asked for advice, for insights, for guidance. And in return, it's a give and flow. I will do the same for others. This is not a competition. There is more than enough for everybody. And together, if we can support each other with love and commitment and attention and desire, then it's just better. It's just better. So
it's better. And I think also, to that point, recognizing that you don't need to know it all.
No.
There is no badge of honor for starting something and pretending to know it all.
No.
And asking questions is essential, and it's part of growth. And the vulnerability that comes with that really is incredibly courageous and very, very rewarding at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's to entrepreneurship. Here's to making your wishes and dreams and goals come true, and enjoying the journey. That's what I got to say.
Agreed. Enjoy it, because it's going to happen anyway. You may as well enjoy it.
Hello. It's so true. Even we could do a whole podcast on motherhood.
Wow.
Yeah, we could do a whole podcast. We'll save that for the next
one. I need a hoodie for that, and I need a cup of coffee. That is not like dressed up hair looking like this. That's a different podcast.
We'll have a different podcast about motherhood. How about that?
That's right. I love it.
All right. Thank you, my friend. What a pleasure to speak with you. We wish you all the success in the world. I know it's going to be amazing.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for joining us for another edition. And if you have your own story to tell, by all means, reach out to me at hello@wishbeads.com and say, hey, Alexa, I have a wish story to share with you. And I will gladly have you on the podcast and hear about how you have made your wishes come true. Because when you share your story, you really inspire other people to go after their wishes, dreams, and goals. So I hope you'll enjoy, sharing your story with the world. And of course, sign up for our next upcoming Wish Circle. We host them at the end of the month. Stay tuned. Join us on Instagram at wishbeads.official. And of course, get yourself wishing with some fabulous Wishbeads jewelry. All right, until next time, I will see you soon. Keep wishing, stay positive. The world needs your light. Ciao.